Now let's review the second stage of labor. So let's review the phases of the uterus. We have 4 phases of the uterus. We have phase 1, which is the quiescent phase, where the uterus is not contracting. We have phase 2, which is the active phase of the uterus, which is the preparation for labor. We have phase 3, which is the stimulating phase of the uterus, which is labor. And we have phase 4, which is the recovery phase, which is pretty much after delivery. And here also is included the lactation. And so now in phase 3 of the uterus, which is the labor phase, we have 4 stages, which is stage 1, which we reviewed in the previous video, that has a latent phase and an active phase. Then we have stage 2 of labor, which is basically the delivery of the baby. We have stage 3, which is the expulsion of the placenta, and we have stage 4, which is not a truly stage, but some bibliographies refer to stage 4 as the monitoring of the mother. So stage 2, this is basically the delivery of the baby. This starts after the completion of the stage 1 of delivery, which remember that is the latent and active phase, which is the latent phase is dilation of the cervix from 0 to 6 centimeters, and active phase is dilation of the cervix from 6 to 10 centimeters. So when the cervix is completely dilated, so 10 centimeters, and it's completely effaced, this is completion of stage 1 of labor, and then the stage 2 of labor starts. So this goes from the completion of stage 1 and ends with the delivery of the baby. And so how is that the baby is delivered through the birth canal? This is through the cardinal movements of delivery. And so in sequence we have 3 cardinal movements of delivery that occur at the same time, and then we have the others that are in sequence. So here cardinal movements are done because of the pushing of the mother. So in comparison to the stage 1, in stage 1 what is doing the effacement and the dilation of the cervix are only the contractions of the uterus. But here what is doing that the baby can advance through the birth canal are the contractions of the uterus and the pushing of the mother. So what are the cardinal movements of the second stage of labor? These are engage in the pelvis of the mother, descent of the head of the baby, and flexion of the head of the baby. All this occurs at the same time. So let's remember we have the situation, orientation, and variety of position, all that we reviewed in the previous video. So the baby, the lie of the baby is in a longitudinal lie compared with the longitudinal axis of the mother. And remember that the variety of position when the baby goes or starts to go into the birth canal is occiput transverse. So this could be left occiput transverse, or this could be right occiput transverse. So whatever, right or left occiput transverse to the mother. And then we have engage of the pelvis. So the head is going to be engaged in the pelvis mother. We're going to have descent of the head of the baby, and we're going to have flexion of the head of the baby. We're going to have flexion of the head of the baby. All these occur at the same time. Then we will have internal rotation of the baby. So this ends up with the variety of position. Now, instead of being occiput transverse, if we do an internal rotation, which is this, so it's a rotation internally. So the axis of rotation is with the head close to the axis of rotation. I mean, this is external rotation, this is internal rotation. So this is the axis of rotation, which is close to the face, and here is close to the occiput. So this is internal rotation, as opposed to this, that's external rotation, where the face is like outside of the axis of rotation. So this is just a matter of definition. Internal rotation, so here's occiput transverse variety of position, and then we have internal rotation. So now the variety of position is, this is occiput anterior. So internal rotation just brings the occiput to the anterior position. So this is a transition from occiput transverse to occiput anterior position, which is the correct position for the baby to continue through the birth canal. Then we have extension of the head of the baby. So now it's in occiput anterior, and then we have extension of the head of the baby, and then we have external rotation of the baby. So extension of the head, then external rotation, so rotating all this way, external rotation, and then we have the delivery of the baby and of the shoulders and the baby. So the head, at this point the head can already get out of the birth canal, but we have the anterior shoulder and the posterior shoulder. So then we do like a slightly pushing down of the baby to release the anterior shoulder, which is here. So we do an anterior pushing down to release the anterior shoulder, because remember, here is the pelvis of the mother. And then that the anterior shoulder is released, then we turn the head up and we can release the posterior shoulder. So again, the cardinal movements would be at the same time engage, descent of the head, and flexion of the head, engage into the pelvis, descent of the head, and flexion of the head, flexion of the head. Then we will have an internal rotation, which transitions the variety of position from occiput transverse to occiput anterior. Then we have extension of the head, then we have external rotation, and then we have the delivery of the head, delivery of the anterior shoulder, and then delivery of the posterior shoulder. And this is the correct position. In fact, the position of the mother is, this is the position. So when the baby is turning internal rotation, this is the relation of the baby with the mother, and the pelvis, the sacrum, is here. So the baby, after doing the internal rotation, then extends the head, so it's not crashing with the sacrum, extends the head, and then does external rotation. So remember, this the sacrum of the mother is here. he's here. And the duration of this normally is, if the patient is a multiparous woman, this is 2 hours. So the duration of the cardinal movements would take 2 hours if it's a multiparous woman, but if it's a nulliparous, which is a nulliparous woman, this will take 3 hours. I mean, this can take from 0.5 hours to 3 hours. I mean, half an hour to 3 hours, but pretty much will take like 2-3 hours. But if the patient is receiving anesthesia, which will be receiving it, we need to add 1 hour. So multiparous woman, if they are receiving anesthesia, so we will add 1 hour. So normally they can take up to 3 hours to deliver the baby, and multiparous can take up to 4 hours to deliver the baby. So the second stage of labor is the delivery of the baby through the cardinal movements, or because of the cardinal movements of delivery, and this is done by the action of the contraction forces of the uterus and the pushing of the mother. This starts after the completion of stage 1 of labor and ends with the delivery of the baby, but not the placenta. And this takes 3 hours if it's a multiparous woman receiving anesthesia, and 4 hours if it's a nulliparous woman receiving anesthesia. Quadratic cardinal movements engage descent and flexion of the head at the same time, then internal rotation, then extension of the head, then external rotation, and then delivery of the head, shoulders, and delivery of the baby.